Hey guys, welcome to another video. I'm just kind of hanging out today because I don't have a lot going on, as you can imagine, with being in lockdown. So this is going to be a little studio tour, mostly for myself or the other 5 people that end up watching it. Just to kind of show you guys what I'm doing. Also some of my guitars that I have, and how I film, and just some of my equipment. This whole upstairs here that I have, this was a bedroom up in above the garage, like a bonus room, and then there's a loft area that I use for the tracking room that's just outside this. And if you've watched my videos for a while, you may have seen the other room as well. But let's just start with my desk here. And if you're watching my videos, most of the audio you hear is going through either this Neve 511 or this Focusrite ISA1 and the Golden Age 73, which is like a 1073 clone supposedly. I don't know, it sounds pretty good. I mostly use it for miking guitars and sometimes drums. And the stuff down here, this is kind of a cool old Ibanez analog delay / chorus multi-effects unit. It's really cool because it's all analog and it sounds cool, and you can do a lot of funky stuff with it. This other stuff, this is a RL exciter, an Aphex RL exciter. I don't use it. This is some of my brother's stuff that I'm just kind of storing here till he figures out what he wants to do with his life. He's kind of in between figuring out what he's doing with himself. He's a little older than me, but he's just kind of doesn't have a place to store this. So I said, I'll just put it in my rack until you figure it out. And then also I've got a DBX 560 compressor and a 530 EQ that I use. I mean, you guys see me doing guitar reviews and maybe my gig vlogs, but this studio is used as a full production recording studio, and that's kind of what I wanted to do from the beginning, was do that, and I still do that, and I stay pretty busy with that and with my bands and with my YouTube videos and teaching guitar. So there's a lot of things you actually have to do these days to stay busy and make some money, especially if you live in Utah. It's not really the mecca of music. This is just a little control surface for my software. I use Reaper. I don't use Pro Tools, but it works well with everything I've done. There's not really a reason that I chose Reaper. It's just the first software I used when I started doing recording on a computer, and I just learned it really well, and I stuck with it. I started out years ago when I was like 17, somewhere around 17, 20 something, with a 4-track recorder, and then just moved from there to digital recording. This is the bottom one is a ART tube mic pre, two channel. It sounds really good. I'm mostly using that lately just to run my keyboard through. It just kind of warms up the sound, makes it sound just a little bit better. Above that is a Joe Meek mic pre and compressor and EQ. It's one of the first pieces I bought of outboard gear when I first decided I wanted to start recording and getting serious about it. So that's this side of the desk. And then my monitors, these are some of the first row monitors I bought. These are the Event 2020s. I probably bought these, which is really cool for what year it is. I didn't think 2020 would have a pandemic in it, though. 2020, you can pretty much F off. Anyway, I bought those monitors probably almost 20 years ago, and I still use them all the time. Next to those are some KRK Rocket 6s, which I don't use as much as I use these Yamaha HS5s, because these HS5s for some reason seem to translate music really well, and some people don't. I've heard some people that don't like the HS5s, but it usually translates pretty well to my mixes. I don't have to do a whole lot of changes from what I hear from here to the car. So if you're a audio nerd and know what I'm talking about, or studio nerd, these are just really they just translate well. And then these other little speakers are just some like desktop speakers. They're just consumer grade. I just kind of throw the mix on there sometimes when I'm mixing a band or an artist. And then this is just a Behringer mixing board that I got years ago that basically just acts as like a monitor. I run all my speakers through it. I run guitars through it when I'm teaching lessons. And then we have the other side of my rack. The bottom rack here is a PreSonus. I think it's called the 1818 VSL, and I've just had that for years and it's worked fine. I don't, as long as you run good pre's in front of these and keep these at 0, I just run outboard pre's to this and it just sounds great. Above that is another bunch of channels. I can run like 20 channels at a time when I record. When I do bands, that's kind of nice. I run all my drums into this interface above. It's just ADAT. It connects to the PreSonus below it, and it's called the Digimax D8. And above that is just a 4 compressor slash EQ slash limiter slash gate by Behringer, which is really nice. 4 channels of EQ, compression, gate, limiting. And then above that is another one of the first pieces I bought. It's a Ultra Gain by Behringer preamp, and it actually is one of the best sounding. It's probably one of the best best kept secrets, because it's actually a really good sounding mic pre, and it's 2 channel, and it has tons of flexibility and tweaking. It's just bang for the buck. I think it was like $100, and I think you can still find them on Amazon. All right, this little thing I just used. This is a Zoom R24, and I mostly use this for mobile recording. It also has these pads if I want to pound out some drum beats real quick if I'm doing some producing. Kind of a cool little deal. It records up to I guess it records up to 24 channels, but I've never used it. I've only used it for my band live, which would be like maybe a total of 8 channels live, or maybe a little bit more. And then below that, I just have my power supply. This is an old Antares Auto-Tune. Before Auto-Tune was a thing inside your computer, it was made as an outboard piece, and this is it. And I used this for a lot of years back in the early 2000s, and it's basically just sitting here now, and I don't know why I still have it, because I don't use it. This is my 11 rack, and I use this still all the time for throwing down ideas or just practicing, and a lot of my students will come and they will just plug into this and get some good sounds out of it. And it's actually, for what it does, there's a few really good mic amp models in this, and I've actually had people ask me on my videos, "Hey man, what amp are you running through on that video?" And it was this. So, you know, what's that say? It means that there's some pretty good sounds in this. Below that is just my headphone amp. I run 4 headphone amps out to the other room, and if you look over here, there's a bunch of cords going under the door. And I'll show you that in just a minute. Below that is just a CD player in case I need it. This is just a amplifier for my speakers. I think this just powers my one set of monitors I have, and then the other ones are all powered. And then I have an old tape deck by Yamaha, which sometimes I take stuff off old cassette tapes, believe it or not, and put it into digital. What else can I show you guys? Oh, this is my Helix. This thing has been you guys probably hear this a lot in a lot of my YouTube videos. And this thing has been just basically a godsend. It just has so many different sounds, and I haven't even I just have found a few amps models that I really like, and I use those. And there's just so much stuff you could do with it. I haven't even cracked the surface of that. And then my keyboard is just a Yamaha Motif 8 that I bought probably 20 years ago. Weighted keys, works great. You can just run any kind of virtual instruments in your computer. Under my desk, I am running. Oh, you guys might be asking about my Star Wars figurines. I went to my mom's house, and she had all my old Star Wars stuff in a box. And I'm not a huge Star Wars fan anymore, but I just thought, you know what? I'll put some of this stuff out just for kicks. This guy right here is smoking a pipe. He's kind of like an old sailor guy. I lived in Michigan for a lot of years, and there was a lot of old dudes that were sailors and had boats, and this kind of reminds me of living there. I am running just a laptop to do all my stuff, and it's under my desk here. You can barely see it right there. It's just a mess back there. I probably shouldn't even show you guys this. This is kind of embarrassing. I need to get organized with my cables. But I'm running a laptop, and right here I have, this is kind of cool. I set this up a little while ago. This is a little AB box. So person can have their pedal board in the control room here, and then this cord here goes out behind the desk, under the door, out to the control room, and into any amp you want to plug into out there, or if someone brings their own amp. And they can be sitting in here listening to what they sound like through the monitors and be in here with their pedal board, which is kind of nice. Back here, kind of dark, but I just have some more cameras that I use. I am kind of a Sony guy, and this is there's Jimmy. This is my overhead mic that I use when I do my videos on YouTube and some interviews sometimes. Right here, these are some lights I'm borrowing from my buddy Jeremy I don't know what the company is, but I only have one of them on right now. If you turn both of them on, it really brightens up, and this is what I use for my lighting when I'm doing my videos. I really like these lights. One of them does have a fan that comes on that's really noisy, but they're LED, and so they probably get hot, so there's a fan, but it's not too noisy. It doesn't bother me. Okay, guitars, why not? So the guitars you guys will see in this room are kind of the ones I go to the most when I'm producing or when I'm playing, or I may take them out live. This one I did a video on a little while ago where I replaced the pick guard. This is my 1991 made in Mexico Strat. It has Wilkinson pickups in it. All the hardware is still original, the tuners, everything else. I've been thinking about pimping this one out and putting gold hardware on it just for fun because I'm bored. This next guitar is my Baja Telly, and this thing, I just love this guitar. One of the best Tellys I ever played, and just tonal wise it has a lot of options. You may have seen me playing this one on a lot of my videos. It did get dropped when my band opened for Sawyer Brown, so there's a nice little chunk and crack right here, but it's actually about the spot you want stuff to be for relicking, right? Anyway, love that Telly. This is a PRS Custom 24 SE that I got at Guitar Center for $400, and I think these things go for about $789 or something like $750. And the reason I got this for $400 was because it was a scratch and dent. It has a little chip. I don't know if you can even see it. Yeah, right there. Right by the strap lock, there's a little chip, but you don't ever see that. Anyway, that's a nice, that's one of my favorite guitars, I think. Just playability, and it has a really nice tremolo on it. It's not locking, but I don't really do a lot of dive bombing these days, so just for subtle stuff like Jeff Beck things, I use it. This is a Epiphone Les Paul Standard in Pelham Blue. Just a great sounding, great looking guitar that I bought like last year from Main Street Guitars because I love the look of it. And it actually really sounds good and plays really well. Probably need to change out the strings on it because I don't think they're really the gauge that I usually play. I was talking to the guy at the store and he says these have now been discontinued. They don't make this guitar anymore, which that's kind of cool. I like getting a guitar and then having it be kind of one of those things where it was a one-time thing and maybe it'll become like a rare Epiphone people want. Who knows? This next guitar is my Line 6 Variax guitar, which is actually in itself just a really good guitar. Just the pickups and the way it plays, and it's kind of useful in the studio because I can pull up different sounds that are actually pretty close to some sounds that I would use if I actually played dobro or banjo or had those instruments available. And I do have like a band guitar, but I don't like play it a whole lot. But it's just for extra sounds if I'm doing like country type pop or anything like that. And then this is my Epiphone ES339 Pro with P90s. If you've watched the channel, you've probably seen that before. This is my Lone Star Strat. It's made in Mexico. It has Texas Specials in the neck and middle, and then Seymour Duncan humbucker in the bridge. It actually came with a different pickup, but I didn't like it, and so or a different humbucker, but I took it out. I can't even remember what it was called. It was one that was used by the guitar player from ZZ Top. And then this is kind of just like a little, I've got a uke. This is just a little chair that I have for people to sit on if they're here doing work or listening to mixes, or like students if I'm teaching. And I got this because it has a little hidden area to put extra like cables and pedals and supplies. This is a case that I got to put my Helix in, so if I take it out live, it's a pretty nice soft case. Got that from Thomann from Germany. Back here is just some stuff. I think some lenses. I've got a lot of random camera equipment laying around, just lenses and like camera bags. And then for my room treatment, I just have some bass traps by Auralux. I don't even know if these are Auralux. I think they might just be some brand I found of like some foam company that makes these, and I just stuck them in the corner of this room. And then I just have some random Auralux panels, and I don't remember what the company's called. Some of these other panels I have up as well. And I hate it when they're crooked. I don't know how like they get crooked because I don't touch them like somebody else. And I just have these pushed up on here with push pins because eventually I might sell this house, and I don't want the walls to be like just jacked from putting treatment on. Anyway, people always ask, like students or people, what's behind the curtain, Rich? Well, let's take a look. Mostly just junk, but let me turn this light around so we can see inside here. Let me raise this up, actually. No, that's probably pretty good. Alright, so I just have lots of boxes from pedals and speakers and music cases. Like all my guitar cases are in here. This side of the closet has lots of like, this is a camera bag, has lots of lenses, old computer, more boxes, an old little monitor up there. And then this is a nice little thing here because it gets really hot up here in the summer when I'm mixing or recording or whatever. And so this is a little air conditioning I had installed, and the unit's outside. It goes down through the garage and then outside, and then it comes up here, and you can freeze this room. This is not that big over. I mean, it's a pretty big room for like a bedroom, spare bedroom. But this little mini split air conditioner just freezes this place out up here, so it's nice to have for sure. I've got this bench in here in case we need to pull it out and have more places to sit for people. What else? Old DVDs. And then up here on top of this shelf, I have just a whole bunch of pedals. More radar. That's a Boss compressor. This is one of those Joyo pedals. This is the British sound. California sound. I have a lot of those pedals because they're nice pedals. Little noise reducer pedal. I bought this pedal years ago. It's called the Saturator. It was like this thing with Joe Satriani and Vox in it. I bought it because I like Joe Satriani, and I don't think it sounds anything like Joe. I just probably don't play as well enough like him. And honestly, I saw a video of him of his pedal board once, and this was on his board, and he barely even talked about it. He said, "Oh yeah, I step on that sometimes." And so I'm just like, why did you do it's about selling stuff, people. It's about selling stuff. I love Joe, but I don't think that was the best pedal. Digital Metalizer. This is a kind of a cool pedal because it has a story behind it. My brother was in Japan for a couple of years and met this guitar player, and he's like, he told this guy that, my brother plays the guitar. This is like when I was 16. And I was really getting into guitar and gear, and like my parents got me a couple of shirts for my birthday, and my brother, who's just like a little older than me, sent me these pedals from Japan, like 3 pedals, and I was just like, holy crap. I thought that was the coolest present ever, Pedals from your brother? How did he know? He's not a guitar player. Joyo compressor. Tube Screamer. Which version is it? I don't remember. TS9 Tube Screamer. Just random stuff. AB switcher. Fuzz by Donner. And then all my good pedals. Like a lot of the pedals I use a lot are on my board. I'll show you guys that in a minute. In this box is just a whole bunch of, let's see, like I think this is like I think this might be a ribbon mic, but I don't remember. Maybe it's not in here. Yeah, this is a MXL ribbon mic. I just have a lot of random microphones because I produce a lot, and I like finding really good low-end mics that sound really good because I don't have a lot of money to spend on really expensive mics. Anyway, there's a lot of different, like there's let's see, like I think my Bluebird mic's wrapped in this. I need to get it out because if it's out I use them more, but if they're in this mic locker I don't use them as much as I probably should. Lots of mics in here, just lots of supplies, cables, headphone stuff, all my headphones for producing over here on this door. And what else is in this closet? I think that's about it. Just a good place to store stuff. Lots of cases, lighting stuff. Yeah, this is the this is the control room, basically. And this is kind of like the supply closet that kind of sits behind here, this curtain. And all this junk acts as a diffuser, if you will. Actually works pretty good. And my studio actually looks out to the front of my house. And I can kind of spy on the neighbors or like see if a client shows up or whatever. It's kind of nice to be able to have a window to the outside world. Dudes that don't have windows in their studio, I would go crazy. I gotta have light and be able to see what's going on out there. At night you can't see it, but still. All right, so let's go out into the tracking room. And if you notice right here, there's just a whole bunch of cables that go under the door. I did not want to like really drill holes in walls and under floors to install all this stuff, because in case I sell this house, I just want it to be like a normal upstairs. So if you look, this is just all these cables right here there's two snakes. One goes to my drum set. The other one it's just another one to set up mics for recording acoustic guitar or vocals. And then a bunch of lines go out for headphone lines. And then there's also a line that goes out to plug in guitar amps. And as we go out here, this is a parts caster I built a few years ago because I was really bored. And I made it look like a legit Corona, California custom telly, but it doesn't really look like one because I didn't know what I was doing. This is my Harley Benton TE30, which you guys have seen on, if you've watched the channel, I've seen this a lot. And then this is just a guitar I got a little while ago. This is my Harley Benton DC custom, basically SG copy, which actually really nice guitar. And then out here I've got my music stand, which usually will go in there if I'm teaching guitar, or out here if someone needs to use it for music. And then I've got just a whiteboard that I'll write down ideas for YouTube videos or songs or whatever I'm doing. And then over here, this is the Harley Benton 450 single cut vintage, I think is what it's called. Pretty cool guitar. You guys may have seen that. This is a really cheap monoprice Les Paul copy that I got years ago for like $100, and it probably stays in tune and plays better than all my Les Pauls I have, like Les Paul style guitars that I own. Which is baffling. And then over here there's just kind of like a little nook, and this is kind of where I keep my acoustic guitars. This little Yamaha is a guitar that I had. I put this little special nut on it so it raises the strings up. It's like a slide guitar, and so I have it in open tuning. You can play slide guitar on that. And then I've got a little baby Taylor that I used to enter the songwriting contest just over the mountain from where I live, and I won this guitar and this classical right here. Like 3 years in a row I won guitars, and they kind of got sick of me winning the songwriting contest, I think. And then I just have a Yamaha acoustic that I really like, and then my Taylor. Nothing crazy expensive, just enough to get some good sounds and recording and take out to play like live shows. And then in this corner I've got just a monitor and then a bunch of cables. This is like a tote that I take out to live gigs, and it has pedals in the bottom and all sorts of other stuff, so in case you run out of stuff. This is like a huge, humongous pedal board that I got from Main Street Guitars for doing some stuff for them. I have not made that into a real board yet because it's just so big that I don't know if I need a pedal board that big. Mic stands over here in the corner. This is a little acoustic board that I use when I do acoustic shows. It's got like a vocal pedal and a looper by Electro Harmonics, and then this Zoom acoustic processing pedal. Kind of cool. This whole area here is just kind of a nook, so when people come they can hang out and then this is like the back window. It goes into my, you can kind of spy on the neighbors a little bit. And then this is kind of the pedal board I use all the time. And it has a Keeley Tone Workstation PB preamp, OCD by Full Tone, RC booster. This is a little delay pedal by Joyo called the D-Seed tuner. These are my vocal pedals because I do a lot of singing. A B9 by Electro-Harmonix, which is a, if you haven't seen this pedal, really cool. It's like an organ pedal. You can blend it with your guitar or like run it out separately to a separate channel. This is an EP booster by Exotic Effects, and this is like one of those always-on pedals. It just makes your amp, everything sound bigger and thicker. Just kind of a cheap vibrato pedal by Behringer, and then the TC Electronics Hall of Fame pedal. I've got random camera gear laying around here, microphones. And then this is just an electronic kit by Roland that I hardly ever use. It's my brother's. I'm kind of just storing it here until he figures his life out. But it's basically the Roland TD8, and it sounds really good. And I actually have this, it's kind of cool because I ran a MIDI cable out of the control room, and you can run it, I run it up above this curtain, and then it runs into the back of this, and this can actually control my virtual instrument drums like Easy Drummer, Slate Digital, SSD 4 and 5. It controls that. And then this is just a speaker to monitor the drums when you want to just come up here and practice and play them. What else? This is another one of those guitars I won in a guitar contest over the mountain. This is a guitar that a buddy of mine didn't want, and I thought it looked really cool, and I don't even play it. I hung it on my wall. I made it play really well. I set it up and stuff, but I haven't played it much. It'd be like a good video guitar, maybe, for doing music videos. Alright, so I have one of my snakes comes all the way over to this side of the room, and then I have all these channels are going into those my nicer mic pre's that are on my desk. They all go into, I have like 8 channels of different mic pre's that this is going into from here. My main vocal mic lately has been this mic right here. It is a Rode NTK, I believe is what it's called. Yep, this is the Rode NTK tube mic, and I do vocals and some acoustic guitar, and sometimes I room mic my drums with it. Sometimes I'll even run, I have a big old high-ceilinged room out here, out in my living room area, and I'll run that microphone out here when someone's playing the drums to get like a bigger room sound. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And then just some lighting that I use sometimes when I'm doing videos. These bass traps, I made these a few years ago myself, just by watching some YouTube videos. Let's back up and I'll show you guys those. And I used to have them on this thing. I used to have a couple of them that I would mount to these legs. And then I was like, you know what, I want to make some clouds. I don't know, I was bored. And so I made a cloud above the drums. And so that's what those are. And then my tube amps, I've got a Fender Hot Rod DeVille. I just got this Marshall. I've never owned a Marshall, which is crazy for me because I've always been like a kind of a high gain rock player. And love it. And I've got this Bugera Power Soak, so I can play it lower volumes and still have all that gain. Just a mini pedal board out here that I do stuff with. I have this thing where if I play like gigs outside that I think is going to rain, I'll take a really small cheap pedal board like that I don't really care about. That's kind of what this has become, because these pedals on here are just kind of some cheaper Joyo pedals from Amazon. I've got an Egnator Rebel 30, an Avatar cab with vintage 30s. This is a cab I made myself that has vintage 30s in it, and just a 2-speaker cab. And then the way I mic my guitars when I'm using real amps is a 57, and then this is just a ribbon mic. And then sometimes I might run a room mic depending on what I'm doing, but I usually have it offset. I don't have it right on the cone. I usually put it over here because I feel like the cone's really bright. And then I'll put this one right there on that side, if you can see this where the speaker is. And then I've got a Yamaha Stage custom kit that I use for my drums, and I've got a Shure kick mic, and I usually put some kind of outside kick mic in as well to get some kind of some lower end. I want to make a sub kick mic, but I haven't done that yet. And I just use, for the toms, I am just using some Audix mics. Usually a 57 on the top of the snare, and sometimes under, and sometimes I mic the hi-hat. I've got a drummer friend that gives me crap because I never mic the hi-hat, and last time he was here I mic'd it and he was just praising me. And then for overheads, I'm just using a Rode NT1, and whoops, these are my dust covers. These are my dust covers for my mics. I can't remember where I got them. And then just another MXL large diaphragm condenser I use on this side. They're not stereo matched, but I've never really, they're kind of the same type sounding mic, and I've never really noticed a difference. It doesn't really affect the sound, 2 different mics to me. And I've got a pork pie big black snare, which is kind of like a Black Beauty copy. And then just some really cheap, like Sabian B8s and a Zildjian ride. Most drummers, when they come and play, they bring their own cymbals and snare, and just use my shells for the toms and the kick. So it doesn't really matter. And I'm honestly not really a drummer. I just dabble. And then this is like the second guitar I ever owned. This is a RG 550 Ibanez guitar, kind of that 80s almost gem looking guitar that everyone had in the 80s, and I don't play it as much as I used to. This all I used to play like back in the 80s and early 90s. Millennium Falcon. These are some old Radio Shack speakers that I use, like if the band wants to practice just for vocals, I will run these. And my mixer for when we're practicing is not set up right now, but I have like a Behringer 12-channel mixer that I usually use. And then again, this is my little gobo that I've kind of been messing with. I just built these and just put this on there. It's kind of looks dumb, but the other ones out here I haven't really finished it yet. I'm still trying to figure out what to do with those. And then I have a 5-string Squier bass that actually sounds really good for what I paid for it for recording. If you run them through good preamps, they sound great. And sometimes I mic an amp and run it direct. Then I have a banjitar, just like a guitar neck with a banjo body, that I sometimes will use for recording country stuff. Someone wants that added to their song if they're a country artist and they kind of want that whole pop country thing. My Boss Katana, which if you guys have seen any of my videos, this thing gets taken out to the clubs a ton, and it's just a great amp. If you don't know about the Boss Katana, check it out. This is an old Roland bass cube that a friend of mine left here years ago, and I tried to give it back to him. He's like, "No, man, just keep it. I don't need it." Ended up buying a bigger cabinet or something. And then just more storage, more mics, extra drum mics by a company called Pile, magazines, etc. Lots of random stuff. What else can I tell you? This is the control room. Oh yeah, and then you guys might want to see these. I just picked these up from the store. Look how big this case is. It's like a freaking coffin. Gibson Explorer, which is just an absolutely gorgeous guitar. So you'll probably be seeing a review on that shortly. And if you can tell by the case, you probably guess what kind of guitar this is. Yeah, it's a Gibson Lute, or whatever those things are called. Okay, let's get this open. Oh, nice little Flying V, Gibson Flying V. That thing is a beauty. And when I first started playing guitars, I always thought the Explorer and the V were just awesome, amazing guitars, because I was really into the Scorpions when I was a kid. Just some random paneling for diffusing from Auralux. I don't know what to tell you guys. Oh, probably one of the most important things in the studio, especially right now, is this is where I keep my stash. Shh, be quiet. This is where I keep my toilet paper. Don't tell anyone I've got some toilet paper stashed away in here, in my bathtub. They might break in and try to steal it. Here's some more toilet paper. Anyway, you guys, thanks for, if you've watched this far, you get an A, because that was a long video. And I apologize. And I usually don't really even like videos like this, because it's like, hey, look at all the gear I have, man. Look how big my stuff is. Look how cool I am. But I kind of mostly wanted to document this for myself and just kind of let you know what I do. Oh, I was going to show you guys. So I ran 2 snakes out here. It just runs along the wall, then back behind here. And then back by the drums is a snake that has all the drum mics plugged into. And about every... So there's a little cord like this that goes right here. This is for headphones, for people that come in, so they can monitor or they can hear what they're doing when recording. And then I've got another one over there by the drums the drummer uses. And I've got one right here for headphones for a vocalist or for whatever. And a lot of times on my kick and my snare, I will run the snare through my Neve preamp, which you can just run a little mic line to there. And also my kick will go through my Focusrite sometimes, and I'll run the room mic through a 1073. I'm thinking about, if you saw my 500 series rack, it's really empty. So it's like a 10 slot rack, and I've got 3 things in there. And so I'm thinking about getting some APIs and maybe another Neve. But yeah, look how empty that is. I've kind of been mocked by some people for like, hey dude, you need to fill that up. Anyway, you guys, thanks for watching this video. And if you like these kind of videos, give it a like, give it a subscribe. And I'd show you what I look like. Maybe I will show you. But I've been in quarantine for a while, so I'm pretty scruffy. I look pretty... Hey guys, thanks for watching. Sorry this was such a long video. I just wanted to show you guys kind of my setup and what I do. You really don't need a lot of money to get good equipment these days, and a few nice preamps and a few nice mics will get you going, and you can produce records and have a lot of fun. And the whole reason I got into this was for fun, and I really just have a lot of fun doing this. And I really enjoy playing guitar, which you guys know. I like doing the guitar reviews, the gear reviews. And really when I got into music, it was more about the guitar. It's always been about the guitar, but over time, I worked a lot of jobs where I had a lot of downtime and I could surf the web. And I learned a ton about recording, and so I just started doing this. And just over time, I've just bought pieces here and there for the studio. And so I don't have compared to some other people, I don't really have like way amazing equipment, but it does the job for what I do. And so anyway, thanks for watching, you guys. If you do like this video, subscribe and maybe leave me a comment. I appreciate you guys that have subscribed and the ones that leave comments. We'll see you at the next video. Adios.